What's up, man? This is the opening video for the course. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey through fitness and working out and everything, and then give you kind of like a introductory to the course and what it's going to really be about. But for starters, I'm sure you already know because you probably watched my videos, probably how you ended up buying this course, but my name's Devin. I'm 24. I started working out whenever I was 17, so that means I've been working out for about 7 years now. So, good while, right? Whenever I first started, I was I want to say a senior in high school, very early beginning of the year. So I was still 17, and I was all of high school. So from grade 9 to grade 12, I was anywhere from 120 to 130 pounds. So I was really on the lighter side. I was 5'9", so very skinny, very weak, and I was always one of the smaller guys. And I just didn't like it, especially because whenever you're in high school, that's kind of whenever you're entering manhood. And I didn't like the fact that I still was viewed as a little boy despite becoming a man, right? So I got in the gym. I was in there for about 4 or 5 months, my first little stint at it, and I quit because I didn't think I was really seeing results, which will probably happen to a lot of people. So keep that in mind as you're watching this video and as you're going through your own journey. It's not going to be quick. It's going to take some time, but it'll be a lot quicker for you than it is for me if you actually take this course seriously and put it into practice. But anyways, I quit, and then after I quit, about 6 months later, my brother started working out. And with him, he's my older brother, and I've always been a very competitive person. And I noticed him putting on weight, putting on muscle, and pretty quickly. And as he went on, gaining muscle and strength and everything, I would see it and notice him around the house, a lot more confident, walking around without a shirt on. And I could just see all the muscle. And I'm like, damn, he's already bigger than me. I don't want to be seen as that little brother. I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, he's actually the little brother. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy. So I got back in the gym. I took it seriously. My brother had a lot more knowledge than me at the time because he started and he took it a lot more seriously than me. So I went to him, I started doing workouts with him. He taught me a lot of stuff, and I saw a lot more progress a lot quicker. And obviously he didn't know everything he was doing either. He was kind of winging it, doing his own thing, but he knew more than me at the time. So we kind of figured it out together. We were working out, and about a year in, I was a lot stronger, way stronger. I think I was benching about probably 185 at the time, which that's really good at the time because whenever I first started, I was benching like maybe 90 pounds, which isn't much at all. So about 185, almost 100 pounds difference whenever I first started. So I thought I was doing great. I thought we were doing good, but I went from 125, 130 pounds, like I said, whenever I started. I got to about, over the course of that first year or two, I got to about 160 pounds. And whenever I first started, that was kind of my goal. I wanted to get there. And once I got there, I was like, man, I still look kind of skinny. I didn't feel like I gained much weight, even though it was, like 30, 40 pounds. In my head, I didn't feel like I gained much weight. And a lot of it wasn't all muscle. But once I got to, I don't want to say 160, it was 150. Once I got to 150, I couldn't gain any more weight. And 160 was my goal, actually, that's what it was. 160 was my goal. I got to 150, and I couldn't gain any weight from there. And that's whenever I realized how important nutrition is and eating was. Whenever I was first getting in the gym, I thought it was all about just pushing weight and going there and doing the workouts, basically. I thought you would just gain weight and gain muscle like that. But then I actually looked into it more, and I understood how important eating was. And so the years went on. I got a lot better. I improved in all these areas, watching videos, taking courses, and I got to where I wanted to. That took me a long time to achieve my goal physique whenever I first started. Obviously, your goals change over time, but I hit the physique that I wanted whenever I was a teenager just starting. I got to where I wanted to. I got my dream body. And I forgot to mention at the start, whenever I was first starting, I saw this dude named, what was his name? V-Shred. V-Shred. You can probably look him up if you want to, but V-Shred was the guy who I saw. I was like, damn, that's my goal physique. I want to look like him whenever I get there. And I got to the point where, obviously genetics differ. I can't look just like him, but I got to where I wanted to from my initial spot. I got to where I wanted to. I'll show you something before and after right here. But with V-Shred, this is like off topic now, but with V-Shred, he sells a course, and it doesn't really help, like at all, if I'm being honest. I bought it whenever I was like new and naive, and I bought it thinking I just want to change my life. And looking back now, the advice he gives is terrible. Don't get me wrong, he looks great, he looks phenomenal, he has a really good physique. But the advice he gives is terrible, and I learned over time, like, some people are just gifted and they have good genetics. They don't need to properly do these things. And I'll get into that more later on, but just keep in mind, if you keep watching my course, I want you to take what I say. I want you to weed out everything you hear, because whenever you're first starting and you're trying to get into this and learn more about it, if you're getting your information from a bunch of different sources, you're going to get information overload. You're going to get people who are like counter to each other. So like, you might get some information from me, but you watch this other guy and he says something completely opposite of me, and you're going to be like, well, who do I believe now, right? So if you bought this course, I take it you actually trust me and you have faith in me and you like how I look and you want to look similar. So I really advise you take what I say as fact, and once you've had your own journey and you learn stuff on your own as well, then maybe looking at other people. But I really highly advise you not to take information from like a bunch of different sources, because you're just going to mix yourself up and you're not going to know what to believe. Because that's what happened to me. Whenever I was starting, I was getting information from all kinds of different sources and I didn't know what to believe. So it kind of mixed me up. So if you take what I say seriously, you'll make progress in a much shorter amount of time. So I really hope you can do that. But that's pretty much it for the intro and about myself. And now that I've gone through my whole 7-year journey, I've been a personal trainer for about a year and a half now. So I know what I'm talking about. I had to take courses to get certified, and hope that can help me sound a little bit more trustworthy and everything. I got a little bit of credentials, you know what I'm saying. That's pretty much it for the introduction and about myself. So I'll see you in the next video. Everybody's dream body is going to be different. The guy who inspired me to actually start working out, I got an ad on Snapchat from this guy named V-Shred. I talked about him in the introduction, but this is him. This is his physique. And whenever I was 17, I remember looking at this ad thinking, man, he has the ideal 10 out of 10 body. This is how I want to look whenever I'm older. So I bought his course, and his course didn't help me out at all. It just pissed me off. Really, all it did. That's what a lot of these people's courses will do, and I'm aiming to not make that how it works for you. But anyways, like I said, everybody's dream body is going to be different. So his body type's not massive, obviously. In fact, he's on the smaller side. He's only 170 pounds. I think he's like 6 foot, and it's really not massive. The ideal attractive male body to me is lean enough for the abs to show, with a wide back that gives you that V-taper look, big arms, and a good sized chest. That's what the ideal male physique to me is, and some good delts on the side, good wide delts. So that's my ideal version, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially younger guys, because as you get older, you might want to be a little bit bigger, but young guys just want that attractive, lean, kind of wide, big arms look, right? It's attractive, it's aesthetic, and that's what most guys want. So I'm going to proceed with this video, assuming that that's what your ideal dream body is also. So the body you're trying to build is going to require you to focus mostly on your chest, ideally the upper chest, because with your chest, obviously you want a big full chest, but the upper chest is going to really make you stand out. It's going to give you like that defined, like, you know what I'm saying? It's what makes that chest look really good, is the upper chest. There's going to be a focus on the upper chest, try to grow that. You want wide lateral delts. So the lateral delt's the side delt. You're going to have a front and a rear delt also, but the side delt is what's going to give you that attractive V-taper look. It's going to make you look wider and make you to appear more muscular. So you're going to focus on the side delt. Then the traps, which is right here, makes you look more masculine, having nice traps. Your lats, that's going to give you that V-taper look. So just your back, basically, your wings. It's going to give you that nice like Dorito shape. And then obviously your arms to get big arms. And then your abs. That's what we're going to focus on, especially for people who are new, because obviously we're going to be working on everything, like legs, obviously everything. We're going to be working on everything. So, but these are going to be the main ideal muscle groups that make you look more attractive and give you that nice body. So there's going to be specific days during your workout routine. We're going to be targeting each of these specific muscles, and they're going to have different workouts for them. And we're going to get that later on in the video. But just keep in mind, there's going to be certain days where you work each one. You're not going to work them all out every day. And we'll get into that later on, obviously, in the workout routine section. And over my 7 years of working out and all the information I've learned, these are the workouts and routines that I've found to be the best for growing these specific muscle groups. And also my brother as well. I got some of his input. And my brother's he is one of the best physiques I've ever seen in my life, if I'm being honest with you. A lot of it is his information as well, and he's helped me out with this. So I hope you can get a lot of value from it. And I think this is the most optimal way for you to be able to grow these muscles and get that nice body that you're looking for. When you're targeting these muscles, you want to use a lower weight with high reps, because low weight, high reps equals more muscle growth. Whereas whenever you do high weight, low reps, it's more focused on building strength. So typically on social media, you'll see people promoting the 5x5, which is 5 sets of 5 reps. And people will do that to gain strength. But people don't really understand that, right? It's something you learn in personal training programs, getting your certificate of personal training and everything. But you also just learn as you go on, right? Just getting experience. But when you do high weight, low reps, it's for strength. When you do low weight, high reps, it's for muscle gain. So we're obviously working to gain muscle and build more muscle. So we're going to be doing high reps, low weight. Once you understand what your dream body looks like, keep that in mind, because it's a good target to have to keep you focused on your long-term goal and actually stay committed to it. So I really recommend finding somebody who has your ideal body type, someone you want to look like. Like for me, it was V-Shred. Even though I don't like the guy, he looks great. So maybe I'm your ideal body type, maybe somebody else is. I doubt I am, but there's people out there who do want to look just like me, but there's people out there who want to look massive. So figure out what your ideal body type is, and then keep that in mind and work towards it. But that's it for this one. Hope you get some value out of it, and keep in mind what your ideal body type is, and we'll go to the next section now. All right, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This section is gonna be the most boring, but it's gonna be one of the most important and one that I really have to pay attention to, because I would have saved so much time in my journey to achieve my dream body if I would have focused on this and actually took the time to learn about it. So I really hope you pay attention to this. To keep it short, the first thing you want to do is to avoid sugars, high trans fats, and highly processed foods like fast food places. Second, find your maintenance calories, which is basically figure out how many calories you need to eat in order to maintain the weight that you have right now, and then subtract 10 to 20% of those calories to cut, and then add 10 to 20% of those calories to bulk up. Thirdly, is to eat your goal body weight and protein. So let's say you want to weigh 170 pounds. You want to try to aim to hit at least 170 grams of protein every day. And then fourth and lastly is don't eat more than 1 to 2 cheat meals a week. So that's the short version, and I'm gonna actually delve into it now. So I really recommend listening to all of this, but if you don't want to, that's the short version, and if you stick to that, it will help. But when I was first getting into fitness, I thought building muscle was all about just getting in the gym and working out. And I didn't realize it until about 2 years in how important it was to eat and eat properly. I didn't realize how important nutrition was whenever it came to muscle building, gaining weight, and looking good. And then over the course of the next 2 years, I realized how important it was for your body and just your overall health, which is just a benefit of working out and eating healthy. But it took me 2 years to realize how important eating was to gain weight and lose weight, but then another 2 to realize how important it was to actually the impact on your body and your health. And so I was a little late on that, and you understanding this now is going to save you so much time and just help you live a better life too and just look better. So first of all, you need to understand the general terms people use whenever it comes to working out and managing your weight. And the first thing is going to be a calorie deficit, or also it can be called a cut, which is basically whenever you're trying to lose body fat but maintain muscle. So basically just to give yourself a leaner look, we call it a cut. So whenever you're, say you naturally weigh 170 pounds and you want to try to get a little bit leaner, you would do a cut or a calorie deficit. So you would just be eating 10 to 20% less of your maintenance calories. And that leads me to maintenance calories. Your maintenance is going to be where your body naturally sits, whatever weight your natural weight is how many calories you eat to maintain that weight. That's your maintenance calories. So in order to be in a cut, you would take 10 to 20% of those maintenance calories and subtract that. Then you're in a calorie deficit and you're on a real cut. Now, you also have a calorie surplus, or it can also be called a bulk. So again, you would take your maintenance calories, and then instead of subtracting, you would add 10 to 20% of those calories, and then you'd be in a bulk or calorie surplus. And that's to gain weight, or just to gain muscle, really. So say you weigh 170 pounds, however many calories you eat, add 10% of those calories, and now you're in a calorie surplus, and that's how you would gain weight or gain muscle. Now, people will do this in one of 2 ways. Either they do it what's called a dirty bulk or a clean bulk. So a dirty bulk is whenever you just eat whatever you want to, whatever you can. It could be fast food, it could be ice cream, high sugars, it could be any of those things, but you're gaining weight in a dirty way, right? You're eating bad foods to gain that weight. Or you can do a clean bulk, which you're eating a lot of healthy foods like clean meats, just like single ingredient foods, right? You're eating really clean, but you're eating above your maintenance. That's called a clean bulk. That's how you should do it. So really you need to figure out what your goal is as of now. If you're a skinny guy, you should be in a calorie surplus. If you're a heavier guy, you should be in a calorie deficit. So figure out what your goal is and keep that in mind when you're trying to do these things. Now, there's a really popular term in the fitness community called calories in, calories out. This is basically just in regard to how many calories you consume and how many you burn. So basically, if you were to eat 1,000 calories and then you burn 1,000 calories in your day, that'd be your maintenance. Obviously, 1,000 is a number I just threw out. Nobody only needs 1,000 calories to maintain, right? But that's what calories in, calories out is. You'll see a lot of super well-known fitness influencers eating a lot of super sugary foods but staying below their maintenance. So that way they're technically still meeting their macros. But the thing is, these foods are a lot less nutritional and they're actually bad and can help you store up fat and cause you to make more fat actually. But these fitness influencers, they're either on gear like steroids or testosterone that help them keep that weight off, or they just have really good genetics. I have a friend and my brother actually, they're both like this. They can eat whatever they want to. They can eat fast food, they can eat only sugar, whatever it is they eat, they don't put on any fat. They can just keep their muscle. It's because they have really good genetics. Some of you might be like that, but most likely you're not that guy. Like, I'm not that guy. I have to eat really good to stay lean. So the calories in, calories out thing really only works for very, very specific people. So don't listen to that when you hear people say that. They'll say these things to appeal to the masses, to make it sound more attractive and make you want to buy. It's just a sales tactic. Like that guy that I mentioned in the last two sections, the V-Shard, the guy who got me into working out. And his sales pitch, it'll only be him like eating pizza and donuts while like on the treadmill or something. That's his sales pitch. No, show he still has a six-pack. He says, oh, I can eat pizza and donuts every day and I still have a six-pack. It's all about calories in, calories out. They'll say shit like that to intrigue you and make you be like, oh, that sounds so much more appealing. It's a sexy answer because you want to keep eating bad. Obviously, it tastes good. Who doesn't want to eat bad? So they do that to make you think, I'm gonna buy his program because I can eat like shit and look like him. But in reality, he just has really good genetics or he's on gear. So you gotta keep that in mind whenever you're going through these things and learning about nutrition. So does their method work? Well, the short answer is yes, but you'll be hurting yourself in the long run because instead of eating like complex carbs like potatoes and vegetables, things that are actually healthy for you, you're gonna be eating sugary snacks, which are simple carbs. So the difference between complex carbs and simple carbs is complex carbs are going to give you a lot more energy and make you feel better throughout your day, while simple carbs are going to make you crash and you're not going to feel as good. So if you take that into account while you're working out, your workouts are going to be way better whenever you're eating clean compared to whenever you're eating badly. But that's not even the worst part, right? Obviously that's not a good thing, but the worst part is it's believable. Like it's very believable because if you do what they say, you will, whatever your goal is, you will either put on weight or lose weight. But what they don't tell you is that in doing that, you're going to be putting on more fat and putting on less muscle. So there's a trade-off there. Sure, if you're trying to gain weight, you will gain weight quicker, but it's going to be majority fat. Rather than if you ate properly, you put on weight a little bit slower, but it'd be mostly muscle. And then same thing the other way around. If you're trying to lose weight and you still eat like shit, you're going to be losing weight, sure, but you're going to be losing a lot of your muscle, but you'll be losing fat too. But it'll be more muscle rather than if you were to eat properly, you'd lose weight, but it'd be mostly fat compared to just a little bit of muscle. So basically it's just taking you further and further away from your dream body. And sure, it's probably achievable, but it would take you much longer. So people really throw around the phrase calories in, calories out just as a cope to eat what they want to. If their goal required them to eat 2,000 calories, they'll eat ice cream and pizza the day, but they'll say, oh, I'm eating my maintenance still, I'm below my calories. But come on, think about it. It's really just a cope so they can eat these unhealthy foods while they're still trying to achieve it. They know they shouldn't be doing it, but they're doing it because, calories in, calories out is what they hear. And they know deep down it's not worth it. Like, even before I told you this, you could look at a bowl of ice cream and know, like, I shouldn't be eating that, right? It's just intuition. You know you shouldn't be eating that. People just want to convince themselves they don't feel bad about it. And I think if you don't know anything about working out, you can understand that and relate to it, right? Like, these people are just being a bitch and trying to take the cop out and get out of it quicker, right? So keep that in mind because while this is a little true, the foods you eat are going to determine how your body looks. So if you want to do that, take the easy way, you can, but just know it's going to be hurting you and straying you further and further away from your dream body. They may still lose the weight, but they're going to be creating more fat by consuming more sugar and in turn keep taking them further away, right? The average person eats for pleasure, and I get that. Everybody wants to eat for pleasure every now and then. That's why we have 1 to 2 cheat meals a week, just to overcome that. But if you're watching this, you clearly want to better yourself. You're not the average person. So we're not gonna eat for pleasure. We're gonna have a day or two dedicated to that. But the majority of the time, we're gonna try to eat properly and eat like the top 1%, like athletes and people like me who dedicated my life to looking good because that's something you want to do clearly. The fastest way you can improve your diet is simply by tracking your macros, right? There's gonna be tracking your macros and then also just eating whole foods, things that you make yourself, because anywhere you go eat, it's going to be somewhat processed. So making your own food is a big way to do it. But the main thing we're going to try to focus on here is just tracking your macros. They have apps for that, really big apps. You get MyFitnessPal and Fujicate. Those are the two off the top of my head. There's anything like that you can find whatever one you'd rather use. I personally, whenever I was doing this, like starting off, I was using Fujicate. Now I just do it all in my head because I've been doing it for so long. I just kind of understand. But I use Fujicate. Now with what you're doing, you can really get really deep into it and track your macros. There's so many things you can track, but the main things you need to track are your calories, protein, and carbs. Oh, and fats. So your main goal is to eat your goal body weight and protein. So if you want to weigh 170 pounds, you're going to try to aim for 170 grams of protein. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio, depending on how you want to go about it. And then next, you need to figure out your maintenance calories. So if you weigh 170 pounds, take about a week and then track your foods that you eat and then get the average of your weekly intake of calories. So say you eat 2,000 calories almost every day, maybe one day you eat 2,100, another day you eat 1,900. The average is going to be about 2,000 calories, right? 2,000 calories will be your maintenance. Now, from there, you weigh 170 pounds, decide, do I want to gain weight or do I want to lose weight? And then from there, let's say you want to gain weight. So you're at your maintenance, 2,000 calories. So 10 to 20% of those calories would be either, we'll say 15%. So that's going to be what, 250, something like that, 300? I think it's 300. So from there, you're going to add 300. So 2,000 is your maintenance, you're going to eat 2,300. So that will be your calorie surplus or your bulk. And then from there, that's how you would do it. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to try to eat less than 30 grams of added sugars. So fruits don't count. Things like ice creams, things like that, where you see on the nutrition label, it'll be like total sugar is 20 grams, added sugar is 15 grams. So you would subtract 15 from 30 and you got 15 grams left for the day. So basically you want to eat less than 30 grams of added sugars. And then lastly, you want to limit your trans fats as low as possible. Trans fats are terrible for you. You want to get as little trans fats as possible. There are healthy fats and then there are trans fats. Trans fats and added sugars are your worst enemy and you got to avoid those at all costs. And then back to calories. Calories are important, but they're not the single thing you need to focus on like the world makes them out to be. Sure, they are important, but whenever you're getting calories with unhealthy foods, it has a negative impact on your hormones, specifically things like testosterone, insulin, things that will really impact your body and just your overall well-being. So keep that in mind and try to avoid these unhealthy foods and trans fats and added sugars. So to keep the science to a minimum, I don't want to delve super sciencey because it makes it hard to latch onto and it's not really interesting. But so to keep the science to a minimum, eating high sugars spikes your insulin. Eating super sugary snacks and junk food increases your insulin production. And insulin is the hormone that's released whenever you eat sugary things or junk food. And that's what causes you to increase fat, look worse, feel worse, and things like that. So you want to really avoid spiking your insulin levels. And it not only does those things, but it can also decrease your testosterone. And by decreasing your testosterone, it's going to make you weaker. You're going to not put on as much muscle. You're not going to look as good, and you're going to have less energy. So think about that and just realize how much it pisses you off that people don't tell you this. It's why is this not common knowledge? Why do people not understand that? Like, why is it not taught more? And it's literally promoted, and it's so easily accessible. It's very dumb. Sugar also impacts another hormone called ghrelin, and I guess this is technically more related to the guys who are fat trying to lose weight. But ghrelin is a hormone in your stomach that tells you when it's time to eat. It signals to your brain that you want to eat and want to keep eating. And sugar raises your ghrelin levels, and it makes you feel hungry. Even whenever you've already eaten enough to be full, whenever you've had a lot of sugar, it keeps telling you you're hungry and causes you to overeat, or even cause you to binge eat. So you can imagine how this would affect your goals. Having sugar can either cause you to overeat and go over your calories and make you end up in a surplus by accident, or maybe you're in a calorie deficit, but you've had some sugar. So now it makes you feel like you're hungry. You feel like you're not getting enough food, so it makes you feel like your diet's not sustainable because you feel hungry all the time. But it's really because your ghrelin levels are so spiked. Now you may be asking yourself, what about junk food that doesn't have sugar in them, like McDonald's or Burger King? Well, these foods surprisingly still have sugar in them. It's just not advertised that way. So the thing about these that makes them even worse is that not only do they have high sugars, they're so convenient and easy to get because you can just pull up to a drive-thru and grab something. But on top of that, they're so high in sugar and calories and fats, bad fats, and it also makes you want to keep overeating. And it's just so easy to get. So it's hard to avoid. And that's one of the biggest problems with it. It's hard to quit, especially compared to normal foods that you have to actually cook yourself and go out of your way to make, right? It's really annoying. It's like a trap you're stuck in because I struggle with fast food myself. Like, it was so hard for me to quit getting fast food and actually stick to a good diet. And it took me a long time to get over that. And sugars are my worst nightmare. It was so hard for me to quit sugars, and I still struggle with it a little bit. Like, it's hard to get it or to stop. I understand. It was a very big, long struggle for me to overcome my sugar addiction. It's addicting. I understand how it is. So eating fast food can quickly lead to weight gain or obesity, or just bad eating habits in general because it's so easy to get and it's so overly accessible. It's hard to get rid of that last layer of fat if you're eating fast food all the time. And on top of that, fast food also lacks the vitamins and minerals that other whole foods will give you. So it's just overall not as healthy and good for your body and just overall mental health too, technically. Now I'm not telling you gotta quit completely. Like I said earlier, you can do 1 to 2 cheat meals a week, and I know a lot of your friends and family are going to want to keep eating bad. This is a personal decision for you to make, that you're wanting to stop and start being healthier and develop a good dream body. And there's some sacrifices you have to make. But you don't have to completely cut it out and never go out to eat with your friends or family or anything. Just try to keep it less than 1 to 2 times a week. Don't make it an everyday thing because doing that will hurt you. So I try to take it 1 day a week, but 2's not terrible, so I'm not gonna hold you back. So now that you understand how all these foods can improve or make your mental health, body worse, I have some meals you can try that are in the ebook that's for free for you. If you just go to the Meals for Dummies spot and you'll see some. Besides that, you can go check out Meals really anywhere. I recommend, my main take on foods and dieting is to just try to eat whole food, single ingredient food. So like if you think of foods from the grocery store that have a big list of ingredients on them, find something that's literally just one ingredient. That's what a whole food is, a single ingredient food. It's gonna be like, if you grab a bag of potatoes, the ingredients will just be potatoes. There's nothing added to it. So you got potatoes, broccoli, any vegetable, any fruit, and then you got meats. If you go back, buy a pack of beef, the ingredient's just beef. They don't have anything added to it. So those are what whole foods are. Those are single ingredient foods. There's so many different diets you can try, but that's my personal favorite. Obviously, different diets work better for different people, but my favorite, and one that I think personally helps with me the most, and I think will help most people, is just whole food, single ingredient foods. Sticking to a diet like that, perfect, and it's just great. So my main diet that I like to follow is just any kind of meat, whether it's fish, beef, chicken, whatever it is, whatever you like, I go with that. Eggs, vegetables, fruit. That's my go-to. And then maybe like a bread or something. I do multi-grain bread. So those are my typical things I like to eat, but that's pretty much it for this section. This is probably going to be the most long and boring section. So if you were able to get through it, awesome. I applaud you. Quick little applause for you. Right? And that's going to really help you a lot if you take the time to understand these things and understand how they work. I promise you it'll go a long way. This was like 5 years worth of knowledge from me. So if you take the time to understand these, you're going to be way ahead of everybody, and it'll really help you improve and skyrocket your progress. I'll see you in the next section. All right, so this section is going to be for some workout routines. First, I'm going to start off with how many days a week you're going to be going. That should be one of the first things you should pick. So I'd say at the bare minimum, you should be doing at least 3 days where you're working out, and at the most, you should be doing 6. The reason I don't say 7 is because you want to have at least 1 day for rest. That way your muscle has time to recuperate, and it gives it that proper amount of time to be able to recover and get the most amount of growth you can get. So for 3 days, what I recommend doing is the push-pull leg split. And what that is, let's say you're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's just the 3 days you pick. It's entirely up to you, by the way, but let's say those are the 3 days that you pick. So Monday would be your push day, and push is going to be any type of muscle group where you push the weight. So those muscle groups are going to be chest, shoulders, and triceps, right? And then so if we're going to do 4 or 5 days a week, I recommend doing what's called the bro split. And basically what that is, you just pick 1 or 2 muscle groups for each day. So for example, let's say you go Monday through Friday. Monday, you would do back and shoulders. Tuesday, you would do chest. Wednesday, biceps and triceps, and then Thursday, legs, and then Friday, you could do a full body day. And if you wanted to do just 4 days, you could just do the first 4 and leave out the full body day, because it's just extra, right? And then for 6 days a week, it was personally what I do, and my personal favorite that I do, it's basically just doing every body part twice a week. So for example, what I personally do is Monday and Thursday would be chest and triceps, Tuesday and Friday would be back and bis, and then Wednesday and Saturday would be legs and shoulders. And that's kind of that's my personal favorite. That's what I've always done for like a long time now. I mixed up a lot, but that's my go-to. And then the other thing I'd recommend for 6 days a week would be just push-pull legs, again, like the 3 days a week, but you just do it twice a week. So it'd be Monday, you do push, Tuesday, you do pull, Wednesday, you do legs, and then you repeat it. So Thursday push, Friday pull, Saturday legs. So it's up to you, however you want to do it. Those are my recommendations, but you don't have to follow those. You can just do it however you want to. Those are what I really recommend. I highly recommend doing those. And the one that I do is just what I personally favor. It doesn't really matter that much what you choose, but that's my personal favorite. So now with the actual workouts, I'm going to just say a muscle group and then give you a list of workouts. For the workouts, it's really easy to figure out how to do them. Just look up a video, find the proper form, and I mean, you can do it in like a minute, right? And then with these, each muscle group, I say to pick out 3 or 4 workouts for each muscle group and then implement it into your workout, and you can make your own workout plan that way. It's a lot simpler than you would think. So just pick from this list that I'm going to read off and then make your own plan like that. I'd say at a minimum, pick at least 2, but try to get 3 or 4. So we're going to do shoulders first. For shoulders, I like to do shoulder press, and you're going to have either a dumbbell or a barbell. Right now I personally prefer the barbell, but dumbbell kind of keeps your muscles from getting imbalanced because you have to push equally with both sides. It's a dumbbell, right? With a barbell, you could favor one side and get a little bit of muscle imbalance. So I personally like dumbbells better. I'm just doing barbell right now. So we got shoulder press, lat raises, front raises, bent over lat raises, and shrugs. Those are my go-to for shoulders. Then we got biceps. Biceps, we're gonna have the preacher curl, the hammer curl, concentration curls, the cable curl, chin-ups, barbell curls, and the waiter curls. Then we got triceps. That's gonna be rope pull downs, skull crushers with a dumbbell or a barbell. I prefer barbell, or easy curl bar is what I use. Weighted dips, with weighted dips, you're gonna have to progress naturally. There's a machine that you can take off some weight from your body. That's the best way to start, and then you progress to just getting body weight dips, and then from there you progress to weighted dips. So weighted dips are a big one for me. Then we got tricep push downs, overhead cable tricep extensions, and then cable triceps kickback. And then we got chest. We got bench press. You can do barbell or dumbbell. I prefer barbell, but dumbbell is probably better, again, to prevent that muscle imbalance, but I just personally prefer the barbell. It puts me in that gym feel. I like the vibe that it gives off. Then we got cable flies. That's going to be top of the cable, middle, and the bottom of the cable. You can pick what you want to, or you can do all three. Honestly, they're all really good. It just works a different part of your chest. If you get that on the top, you're going to be working in your lower chest. If you got it in the middle, it's going to be kind of all over, but more directly targeted to the middle. If you got it at the bottom, it's going to be working your upper chest. Then we got incline bench press, which is a staple. You should be putting this no matter what. I prefer dumbbells, but again, you can do barbell or dumbbell, but I prefer dumbbells. And then we got the pec deck machine and chest press and dumbbell flies. That's all for chest. That's my favorite day personally, so I'll throw that out there. We got back. Back's going to be pull-ups, lat pull down, seated cable row, deadlift, straight arm rope pull down, and then the pin lay row. That's for back. We got abs, going to be the hanging leg raises. Might need to start off with the leg raises if it's too hard for you, but hanging leg raises is my favorite. Weighted crunches, planks, in and outs. Those are my favorite, but there's a lot more you could do. Abs, kind of just like, I don't really think there's anything crazy that you should be doing with abs. They're kind of all relatively similar, but those are my go-to that I like. Then we got legs. Gonna be your glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves. So I'm just gonna include all that. We got squat, a staple, Romanian deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, quad extensions, leg press, goblet squat, lunges, hamstring curls, calf raises. Those are my favorite. There's a lot more you can do for that as well, but those are my personal favorites. And what I like to do for the 6 days a week, whenever I do legs personally, you can do just a full leg day if you want to, but I personally like to do my first leg day, I do like a whole quad focus day, and then the next time I do legs, I do a hamstring focus day. So I'll do like quads and calves and then hamstrings and glutes or something like that. I kind of split it up like that. So that's just how I personally do it. You can do what you want to, but that's pretty much it. So again, figure out how many days a week you want to go. Pick a certain day you want to do that, because whenever you have certain days of the week picked out, let's say you pick Monday through Friday, it puts you in this like routine. It becomes habit. If you're changing up the days every week, it's going to be a lot harder to form that habit, especially if you're doing less. If you're doing 3 days a week and you pick Monday, Wednesday, Friday, really trying to change that, because it's going to mess with your routine. It's going to make it a lot harder. So keep that in mind, and I pick it beforehand and just stick to it and do what you can. But again, with the workouts I just listed, just pick 2 to 4, preferably 3 or 4, and then throw it in for a day, and then go from there. And then remember to progressively overload. That's pretty much it for the workouts. These are my favorite, and yeah, so see you in the next section. All right, so for this section, it's going to be about basically the fundamentals that if you fully understand the concept of them, it'll skyrocket your progress and you'll make much faster results than those around you who are also just starting. It's basically just something to give you a head start and help you understand basically the science behind lifting and how to achieve your result or achieve your goals faster. So with these fundamentals, there's going to be 5 main ones. This looks smaller ones, but the 5 main things you need to understand are, first of all, progressive overload. Second of all, mind muscle connection. Third, working until failure. Fourth, shocking the muscle. And fifth, cutting and bulking. So with progressive overload, the way I always have to explain it is basically as you get better, as you get stronger, you're going to want to slowly up the reps, sets, or the weight. So we'll use bench press for example. Let's say your bench press is right now 135 pounds and you get 3 sets of 10 reps. So you come in the next day and you would want to up the weight. So let's say you put a 5-pound plate on each side of the bar. So now you're at 145 pounds. Now, instead of doing 3 sets of 10 reps, maybe you get 1 set of 10 reps and then 2 sets of 8 reps, right? Basically, you're going to keep, every time you're doing bench press, you're going to keep coming back and keep working up the reps until you're able to get 3 sets of 10 reps. So whatever you need to do, whether you need to do an extra set or whatever the case, whatever you have to do, you're just steadily trying to, I guess, literally progressively overload the bar until you're able to get 3 sets of 10. Once you're able to get 3 sets of 10 again, you're going to up the weight again. So then you put another 5 pounds on each side. Now you're at 155 pounds. And you repeat the process. So basically, you're going to change the weight, up the weight a little bit. So obviously, in doing that, your reps are going to go down for each set. And then whenever you're able to get back up to 3 sets of 10, then you up it again. So it's just, you kind of just keep going, and you progressively get stronger and stronger and then you kind of change it from there. As you get stronger, you up the weight, and whenever you can get that, once you get to that breaking point of 3 sets of 10 or whatever you choose to do, you go up. So what I recommend doing is either always aim for 8 to 12 reps. You can pick the range, anywhere in that range, you can pick it, and then 3 or 4 sets. That's what I usually recommend. I personally do 3 sets of 10. Now let's say in that same scenario, you try to up the weight, you add the 5 pounds, but it's just a little bit too heavy. Instead of upping the weight, you say you can get 3 sets of 10 of 145. Instead of going to 155, you would just add another set. Add a 4th set, and try to get anywhere between 8 to 12 reps. You get that extra set in, just so you're doing more than the last day you did bench press, right? Because the way I like to see progressive overload as is basically you're just in competition with your past self. Every time you do a workout, you want to do better than the last time you did it. Whether it's adding another set, adding 1 more rep, adding more weight, whatever it is, you want to do something different than you did last time. That's somewhat of an improvement. So there's like the saying, progressive overload. That's what it is. You're just trying to do better than you did last time. So just keep in mind you're in competition with your past self and you want to do better. If you add that extra set, once you're able to get 4 sets of 10, you would up the weight and then try to go for 3 sets of 10 again. And then at some point, the weight's going to be manageable and it's not going to be too heavy for you. Now, the next fitness fundamental is going to be mind-muscle connection. And what this basically is, it's just your ability to feel the muscle you're trying to work out. Because most people don't understand this. Most people, whenever they go to the gym, let's say you're working out biceps, you're doing curls. And whenever a lot of people do it, they'll just be swinging it, just trying to get it up any way possible, any means necessary. Whenever they're doing that, they're using all their muscles possible. They're using their shoulders, they're using their back, they're using their arms, they're using all of that. So basically, what you want to try to do is really focus on the muscle you're trying to work out. So since you're trying to do curls, you're working out your biceps. While you're doing the curls, you want to really focus on just squeezing your bicep. You want to try to use as little shoulder as possible. You want to try to use as little back as possible. Just really focus on squeezing that muscle. So if you're doing a curl, obviously you would just really focus on your tricep. If you're doing shoulder press, you want to really focus on using your shoulders. If you're doing lateral raises, you want to really focus on using your delts, your side delts, because that's what you're working out. Whatever muscle you're working out, you want to try to focus on squeezing that muscle as much as possible. Because when you're doing that, that's when you're really going to be tearing that muscle down, breaking it down. And that's what in turn builds new muscle. When you break it down, it breaks up the muscle fiber and it grows back stronger and bigger, and that's basically how it works. So you want to really focus on whatever muscle you're using, hence the term mind to muscle connection. Now there's going to be certain muscle groups that you feel that you're really good at feeling the mind muscle. You can really feel the contraction, but there's going to be certain muscle groups where your mind muscle connection is weaker and it's going to be harder for you. For me personally, my weak point was my back. Whenever I'd be doing lat pull downs, especially if you're holding the bar and you're pulling it down, trying to squeeze your back, I can never feel my back. I always feel it in my arm. So it took me a long time to strengthen the mind muscle connection to my lats, which is your wings to get to your back. So it took me a while and I had to really focus on it. So there's going to be some type of muscle group for you where your mind muscle connection is weaker and you're going to have to actually focus on trying to feel it. So it's okay to do lighter weight just to work on that feel. So get your form down properly and then start going up in weight. Really try to get that mind muscle connection down. That way you're getting as much progress as you can with the workouts that you're doing, because if not, you're just wasting energy. If you're doing lat pull downs using your arms, you're never going to grow your back. You're just going to be growing your arms. If even growing your arms, you might just be working them to where they don't even get hit enough. They're just getting worked out. So you don't want to waste your energy like that, right? You want to make sure you're getting what you can out of the workout. So whenever you're doing anything, whether it's back, whether it's chest, whether it's shoulders, arms, whatever you're working out, make sure you're trying to focus on feeling that squeeze, feeling that muscle specifically. That way you're getting as much as you can out of that workout. And if for you have like a weak point, if you need to really tone in on it and try to get that mind muscle connection better, there's ways to do it. If it's your chest, you can, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but you can try to do like the pec pop in the mirror and watch you try to work your chest. You can try to do a lat spread if it's your back, flex your lats a little bit. You can probably see that too, my lats sticking out. There's ways to squeeze just that muscle. So whenever you're not working out, just try to squeeze that muscle throughout the day. You can flex your chest, flex your shoulders, your arms. Whatever you're trying to work out, if you sit there and try to flex just that muscle and hold it, you'll be able to feel the squeeze. And it's like, if I'm obviously flexing my bicep right now, I can feel my bicep being flexed, and that's how I want to feel whenever I'm doing a curl, for example. If I'm doing a curl, it's like I'm squeezing just my bicep. If I'm doing bench press, pushing with my chest. So whatever you're working out, you want to try to use that muscle, and that sums up mind muscle connection. Now, working until failure, this is one of the biggest fundamentals that you need, and it's also the hardest. So most people understand this concept, but nobody really does it because it's actually hard and makes the gym a lot more of a struggle to go to. It's more challenging. But basically what it is getting all your energy out each set. So let's say we're doing shoulder press, right? We're trying to get 10 reps. And I guess you really shouldn't have a rep range for like what I'm about to say. But let's say your rep range is 10 reps. You get 10 reps relatively easily, but you got to that rep count, right? You got to 10. So you just drop it, but you had more in the tank. You had more energy. You could have put a lot more into that workout. But just because you know, okay, I'm going to get 10 reps. You get to 10 and you just stop, right? That's not what you should be doing. What you should be doing is, let's say you are aiming for 10 reps. You should find the perfect weight to where you're on number 8, right? It's just the 8 rep. Here's 9. It's a struggle. You get it up. And then 10, it's like you're fighting for it. Like it's like fighting for you're at war. You're trying to get that last rep. You get it. You got no more energy in the tank. You worked until failure. You did that set to failure. You couldn't get any more if you wanted to. That's what you should be aiming for. You should be trying to make that last rep just as hard as possible. And it should be like basically you can't even get it. That's what working until failure is. Whenever you do that, you're working the muscle to failure, right? It can't get any more, so it's breaking down the muscle fibers as much as possible. And that's whenever you're going to get the most out of working out, because that's whenever it all breaks down. It's going to grow back bigger, it's going to grow back stronger, and then that's whenever progressive overload truly kicks in. Because now you broke it down, it's going to grow back stronger, and then you increase the weight, then you increase the reps. You see where I'm getting at? That's how it all ties together. So you really want to work until failure. Doing that is going to make you get progress as fast as possible, and there's no faster way. But again, it's going to be a lot more mentally challenging, mentally draining. It's just going to be overall harder. It's going to make your workouts way harder. But you should be doing it for every set, for every workout. And it's the best way to do it. I'm telling you, if you keep that in mind, you'll make progress really quickly. And then fundamental number 4 is shocking the muscle. Basically, it's pretty much what it says it is. You want to change it up and make it unexpected. Because obviously you know it's coming, but the muscle is used to, it gets in a pattern of doing the same workout routine over and over and over again. So it builds up immunity to it in a sense. So whether it's doing new workouts or just changing the order of your current workouts, that's how you shock the muscles. So let's say your chest day is flat bench, incline chest press, then we got incline flies, and then the pec deck machine. Let's say that's your chest day. What you could do is do flat bench last, and then do pec deck second, incline first, and then you switch up the order. So in doing that, it tricks your body into not being doing what it's used to doing. It's a whole new routine, so it switches it up a little bit. Or you can just completely change the routine. So instead of doing those 4, maybe you do decline cable flies, then you do decline chest press. You do new workouts. Doing that's going to trick the muscle. It's going to give it a new stimulus, and it's going to get you more sore because it's not used to doing. That's going to be new patterns, and it helps a lot more than you would think. So basically, this comes down to just knowing when to change your split, and then your split is just what days you do the workouts, what you do on that day. So what I just explained basically. So say your chest day is the same thing, and you do it on Tuesday. Maybe do chest on Wednesday and change up the workouts, right? That's kind of what I mean by that. So if you've been doing that same routine for like 3 months and you can tell it's getting, like your muscles are getting used to it, you don't really get sore anymore, then it's about time to change up the split, add new workouts, change the day you do that workout, and so on, right? You basically change things up. You don't want to keep it the same way. You want to make some change. So basically, my whole first year of working out, I did the same workouts the same day every week. So this led to not just less muscle gain, but also boredom, because like I'm doing the same thing every day. It gets mundane, it gets boring, there's no change. So I just kind of got bored of working out. And also on top of that, I was just wasn't getting as much muscle growth as I could have because I was doing the same thing again every day, every week. So I wasn't shocking the muscle at all. I could have had more progress in that first year than I did. But instead, the next year, I started changing it up a little bit. I understood this concept whenever I learned about it, and I made a lot more results. So just keep that in mind too. Now with this, it doesn't mean to change it every week, because you do want a constant workout routine. So don't change it just back to back. You want to get like at least 3 to 4 months, because then you can do progressive overload. If you're changing it every week, you can't do the progressive overload fundamental that I talked about already. So don't change it constantly. Get about 3 to 4 months, use progressive overload, and then switch it up, and then get progressive overload with the new workouts you're doing. So every just 3 to 4 months, try to switch it up at least a little bit, right? And then doing that, you're gonna make a lot more results towards your goal. And then the last fundamental we're gonna talk about is just cutting and bulking. Really simple one, but it's also a really important one. Whenever I first started working out, I didn't understand this concept at all, like literally at all. I didn't think eating mattered at all. So whenever I got in there, I was expecting, just because I was working out, I was gonna gain weight, I was gonna get lean muscle, I was just gonna be super shredded. I just thought working out was gonna make that happen. But in reality, like we already talked about in the diet portion, dieting is the most important thing there is to do when it comes to working out. But I expected it to just be huge because I was working out. Do not make this mistake, because it's one of the biggest mistakes you can do. You're basically going to be wasting time. You will be building a foundation and process, but it's just overall a waste of time because you're not doing what you could be doing. You're just basically taking the slow route and not the smart route either. When you start working out, you need to build a foundation of muscle before you try to do a cut. If you do a cut before you give your body the chance to build any muscle, you're just going to look like the skinny guy with flabby skin because you're not going to have any muscle under it. You're just going to be super skinny, and you might have like a skinny guy six-pack, but you're going to have no muscle underneath. You're going to have some skin because you've lost some weight, and now you don't have any muscle, and you're just super skinny now. And I really think if you want that, because I'm sure you don't. I don't want that. I never wanted that. You don't want to be like this skinny guy with just like, you know, your rib cage showing and everything. You want to be the guy with abs showing. You want to be the guy who has pecs that can pop. You want to be able to flex your biceps, have some veins. You know, you want to look good. You want to be just a skinny guy. The real thing you want to be doing, the process you want to follow, is you want to bulk up, gain as much muscle as possible, and don't do it dirtily. Don't like eat just super bad processed food, sugary foods. Don't do it that way. Bulk up properly, gain as much muscle as you can, gain as much strength as you can, and then maintain it for a little bit so that muscle has a chance to actually be permanent and become part of your frame, become part of you. And then you cut. And then whenever you cut down, you're going to be lean, you're going to have muscle showing, you're going to have pecs that'll pop, you're going to have your abs showing, veins, you're going to have everything that you want, and you're going to be looking good. And then you're going to repeat this process whenever you want more muscle, and then you want to be lean again. Basically, anytime you want to gain more muscle, which would typically be in the winter for most people, that's just how they do it because you're not going to be shirtless as much, they bulk up. So during the winter, you bulk up, try to get more muscle, and then when the summer's about to come up, you cut again and try to get lean down and with more muscle showing. It's just a constant bulk, cut, and then that's kind of basically how it is. And over time, you gain more muscle, you get lean. You gain more muscle, you get lean. It's kind of just like a repeat process like that. I personally didn't do my first cut, like real cut, until I was 2 to 3 years in because I had gained a lot more muscle at that point. But I did a dirty bulk, which was a mistake because I didn't maintain as much muscle as I could have. So the ideal way to do it, you can do a dirty bulk if you want to, because like if you just really want to gain weight like I did, sure, go ahead and do a dirty bulk. You'll put on weight quick. But the ideal way is to do a lean bulk because you'll put on more muscle and put on less fat, so you have to burn off less fat whenever you do a cut, and it'll be a lot quicker, and you'll have more muscle and you'll be leaner at a higher body weight, so you just overall look better, right? So basically you're just minimizing the amount of fat you gain, but maximizing the amount of muscle you gain. And that's pretty much all the fitness fundamentals that I'm going to talk about. That's 5 of them. Again, you're going to skyrocket your progress if you follow those, and you're going to be way ahead of everybody around you. And just overall, it'll save you a lot of time, and you're going to feel a lot better about yourself knowing that you did it properly. So hope you follow those. Really get them stuck in your head and do them when you're in the gym, when you're out of the gym. Just make them just law. Follow them religiously, and you're going to make insane progress. I promise you are. And you're going to be thankful to me. I hope anyways, you know. But we're going to the next section now. Basically, it's going to be about mindsets and how to stay in the gym and just overall do better when you're in the gym. There's going to be things that you're going to go through during your fitness journey that are going to make you feel like you want to quit. It's going to overall demotivate you, and there's going to be ways around these that I'm going to try to help you out with, but it will inevitably happen to you. It happens to everybody, so hopefully I can help you out and help you get around these little humps, these ruts that you go through. Now, if you follow the tips I'm about to give you, it's going to help you get over these things like burnout, negative self-talk, and just feeling like you aren't making any progress, right? So as you're working out, as you go over your journey, there's going to be days where you just don't feel like working out. You don't feel like going to the gym, and you feel like you just hate working out. The best advice I can give you here, and this sounds kind of dumb, but the best advice I can give you here is to just go anyway. Put on your shoes, just go to the gym. You don't even necessarily have to do your full workout. Just get in there, do a little bit, and it's kind of, make it like an easy day. Now, the thing is, once you're there, you'd be surprised how just getting yourself in the gym will make you want to go ahead and just do the full workout. But the whole point of doing this anyways, even if you don't get like a full workout, even if you just do like 10 minutes, the whole point of this is just so you don't get out of the habit of going to the gym and you don't get stuck in that rut. Because if you skip one day, it starts falling into a habit and you start skipping a lot. So if you really just feel like not going to the gym, I promise, if you just go there, do something small, you don't have to do anything, just get in the gym. Because going to the gym is a habit. Once you do it so often, it becomes part of your lifestyle and it's just something you do. So don't break the habit by skipping. Maybe just go, don't do the workout, and you'd be surprised how much it'll help. Half the time you'd be surprised, it's not even really the workout you didn't want to do, it's just the act of getting in there that you didn't want to do. So once you're there, sometimes you'll honestly just really do the workout. Now, another thing you consider is maybe you're just doing too much in the gym. Maybe just cut back a little bit, subtract something from your workout routine, and then just slowly add it over time, right? Because sometimes if you're doing too much, it'll just lead you to disliking the gym. You're not going to want to go because there's so much work you have to do. So consider just taking something out and do less work, and then if you get to the point where it's just easy, maybe try adding it back. Doing that can help a lot, and it'll keep you from getting burnt out because it's just too much, or you know what I'm saying? Just, as long as you're in there doing something, it's better than doing nothing, and it'll really help with that, like starting to dislike the gym type of feeling. And another thing you can do So just remember you're fighting against yourself and not other people, because comparing yourself to other people is like the devil in the gym. It's going to make you just hate yourself, right? So the big thing here is just remember where you started. Take progress pictures often. I can't stress that enough. Very often take progress pictures, because still to this day, I'm about 6-7 years deep into working out, and still to this day, I have days where I feel like I've made no progress. Like, I'm talking about from day one, I just feel like I made no progress. And all I have to do is pull up a progress picture, and I see, like, wow, I'm a different person. Even though in my head, like, look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I look like shit, I haven't made any progress. And then all I do is pull up a picture, look at it, wow, I look so much different. Like, it's insane how much of a confidence boost you can get just by looking at the pictures. You take them often, that way you can just see over time, and I promise you, it's one of the best feelings in the world whenever you look back at those pictures, whenever you're feeling down on yourself. It's like an immediate, just highlights your day. You just feel confident all of a sudden. Now, everyone compares themselves to others in the gym. It's just not healthy. It's really hard not to do it, but it's not healthy constantly doing that. But the thing is, some men can use others as fuel for competition. Like me, I'm personally like that. I like to use other people in the gym as fuel for myself to work harder to get better. I'm like, okay, he's not better than me, and if he can do it, I can do it. That's kind of how I think of it. But there's others who just can't do that. In fact, most people are like this. Most men are like this. They see others, and it just makes them feel bad about themselves because they don't look as good as the other guy, or they're not as strong as this guy. Now, the thing is, it's easy enough to say, stop comparing yourself to everybody. But it's nearly impossible not to actually do it, right? So just remember where you came from and remember what your end goal is, and it'll help more than you think, and it's going to change the game for you, honestly. It's going to make you feel a lot better about yourself and make you a lot more focused in on what your goal actually is. But anyways, it's really important to remember, if you're feeling down, go back and look at your very first progress picture and compare it to where you're at now. And I promise you're going to feel amazing about yourself. Everyone's different. Everyone's journey is different. Just remember to be the best you can be. And something else that's important, remember, the next mindset that's good to have is to remember, don't try to catch up, right? And what I mean by this is, if you didn't eat enough today, don't try to eat more tomorrow. If you didn't work out today, don't do tomorrow's workout and today's workout because you missed today, right? The best way to prevent this is to prepare before. If you know you're not going to eat much later, eat more sooner. That way, it kind of helps in that same day rather than the next day. And this also applies to cutting. If you know you're going to eat a lot later, eat less before. And it's kind of like that. Just try to plan it all beforehand, and that's really the only way to go about doing this. Is remember, don't try to catch up, because doing that, it kind of messes up your routine, it messes everything up, and it'll just kind of set you back a little bit. And then one of the biggest mindsets that'll really change it all for you is, remember, working out and just fitness in general is an infinite game. It's something that never ends. It's something that should be part of your just routine for the rest of your life. In fact, you should expect to be working out for the rest of your life. You want to look good forever, right? You don't want to just be like fleeting. If you work out super hard for 2 years, you look good, and you stop and look bad again. You want to be looking good for the rest of your life, so expect it to be just a lifelong journey. You don't want it to look good and then just stop working out, right? You want to still look good when you're 60. So keep that in mind. It's an infinite game. It's something that you're just going to be doing forever. If you do that, it's just you can kind of expect yourself to work out, even if you're not looking your best. You're just like, okay, it's part of my day. Let me go work out. Let me go get a pump in. And it's really game changing when you think about it that way. And then this next part is just some ways to help you stay committed to your goals. First tip is just to remember you're doing this because you have a goal in mind, and that's to sculpt your dream body. Second tip is to maybe just have a friend go with you, or if you don't want to go, just have a friend keep in check with you and hold you accountable about going. Third tip, develop a routine and go at the same time every day. And then lastly, just to keep in mind, this isn't a short-term goal. Like, it's not something that's going to happen in the short term. It's something that it's going to take years to develop, something that takes a while to actually get to the result you want. And you got to not only be okay with that, but want that. And in doing so, it's going to really just change it all for you, right? If you want it to take a long time, you just like the grind, it's going to be a game changer. You're going to stay committed to it forever, basically. Now, some setbacks you're going to face are going to be, first of all, injury. And this is something that I went through, but you may get an injury, and you're going to want to push through it. That way you don't lose the muscle you get. But that's a terrible idea, because in the long run, you're going to be making it worse. You're going to be able to push less weight. It's best to just take a little bit of time off, let the injury heal, be a little bit weaker, and then get it back quickly, rather than continue to working out, aggravating the injury, and making it worse, and you're out for a long time and use a ton of muscle. And that injury may even stick with you for life, rather than just like 2 weeks to a month, right? So you want to just really keep in mind, if you get hurt, take the proper amount of recovery time, and then get back to it. I know that's something very difficult for a lot of people. That was really hard for me, and in fact, I didn't do that. I kept pushing the aggravated injury, and to the point where I couldn't work out anymore. But luckily, it wasn't so bad to where it put me out for a long time. It took me a little bit to recover, and then I was back in there. Just keep that in mind. You don't want to overdo it, right? Because I know that idea of losing the muscle you used to work so hard for is like terrible. But it's better than being out forever and just never being able to be back to that prime version of you that was just doing so much, had so much muscle, and you just can't do it because of an injury you couldn't take a month off to let heal, right? Another setback is you may quit or just take a break from the gym for a little bit. I don't recommend this, but it happens to the best of us. We all go through a rut sometimes, and we just, don't stick to it. But just try not to let it happen. But when it does happen, just try your best to remind yourself why you started and get back in the gym as soon as you can. Because the longer you're out, the harder it's going to be to get back into it, the more muscle you're going to lose. It's just overall just a bad experience. But just try to remind yourself why you started and get back in there as soon as you can. And then the last tip for setbacks is don't stress over muscle that you lost, because there's a term called muscle memory. Basically what it is after you built the muscle once, it's a lot easier to rebuild it again the second time, because your body's already made it once, it remembers it, and it builds it back much quicker. If I was to stop working out and somehow my bench fell all the way down to like 155 pounds, right now I can bench about 275 pounds, 295 pounds, somewhere like that. It would be a lot shorter of a journey for me to get back to 275 than it was the first time, because muscle memory, it would take me like maybe 3 to 4 months compared to like the 3 years it took me, right? Muscle memory is a real thing. That's pretty much it for this section. The next section is going to be about the milestones and how they can really help you stay in the gym and give you something to strive for. And it's really useful. I hope you enjoy it, because it was one of the most fun parts for me to write, and it was something that helped me a lot during my journey. So the milestones I'm going to be talking about in this video are basically going to be a guideline for you to use to help judge your progress. Think of them as goals you can set to help motivate you and encourage yourself to work out. And basically it's just like mini goals that you'll accomplish to make you feel good about yourself that'll lead to your big goal. And this is going to give you a much bigger drive to get in the gym and work towards your goal. Now, some people may not care about milestones, but for me it was a huge help and kept me super motivated and made the gym more fun and less of a chore for me, so I hope it can be the same for you. And the first one's going to be your body weight. So I can't set this for you because it's going to be heavily catered to the individual. So let's say right now you weigh 140 pounds and you want to get up to 170 pounds. You would set incremental goals along the way to where right now you're 140, but 150 is going to be a huge win for you. You can't wait to hit 150. When you hit 150, it's like, oh my God, I just finally got my goal. I hit my goal, and it's going to be like a huge dopamine rush. You're going to feel great about it. It's going to keep you motivated in small increments, because you're going to be 150, 160, and then 170 hit your big goal, and it's like even better. Now, for me, I personally started at 120 pounds. And I wanted to hit 160 pounds. That was my big goal. So I did that, exactly. I did 10-pound increments. 140 was a huge deal for me. 150 was a huge deal for me. And then I got stuck at 150 for a long time, like over a year probably. I couldn't get past 150. And then I properly went about diet, and I finally got to 160. And I was like, oh my God, let's fucking go. And once I got to 160, I was like, man, I'm not happy here. I want to get up even higher. And I just kept going. I got up to 200. I already talked about all this, but basically, you want to set small goals for yourself to make the big goal seem more attainable, and it makes you more excited about the short term rather than the long term. So basically, through this journey, there's going to be minor milestones and then major milestones. During that time, 140 was a minor milestone for me, but 160 was one of those major milestones. So it's basically it just leads to the major one, right? But the minor ones still feel great. I remember whenever I was getting up to 200, whenever I was working on that major goal, whenever I saw, I want to like pretty much every minor milestone. I remember I hit 180 for the first time, and I was literally in the bathroom. I looked down at the scale, I saw 182, and I started jumping I was literally jumping, like, let's fucking go. I was so hyped. So these milestones give you a huge, huge dopamine rush, and it's like, oh, you feel on top of the world when you get to them. Especially when those major ones hit, it's like, oh my God, it's insane. So having the milestones really puts that joy into it. It makes you actually enjoy pushing and working towards it, because it gives you something to work towards, right? And the longer you work towards it, the better it feels. Like, whenever I tell you I was jumping for joy in the bathroom, I'm not even joking. I was like fucking punching the air, let's fucking go. And I was like jumping up and down for a good 5 seconds. I was so hyped. It took me so long to work towards that, and I finally did it, and it was like, oh, it felt great. It was one of the best feelings I've ever had. So really try to set these milestones for you, the minor and the major, because it's going to change the game. Now, another milestone for you is just the big lift. So it's going to be bench press, deadlift, and squat. Everybody kind of has their own favorite. For me, it was bench press, so I'm going to use that for the example in this. But basically, whenever you're doing these big lifts, keep track of the weight you were doing. There's gonna be big milestones for each one. So for bench press for me, 135 is obviously the first one. That's having a 45-pound plate on each side. So I hit 135 for the first time. Felt great. 185 is the next big one. It's having a 45-pound and a 25-pound plate on each side. Hit that, feels amazing. And then the biggest one for almost everybody is getting 225 pounds. It's a 45-pound plate on each side. It feels amazing. You feel on top of the world whenever you finally get that. Just having those small little strength gains lets you know you're making progress in the gym, you're making progress towards your goals, and seeing yourself hit something that you thought was impossible when you first started. It's mind-blowing how good it feels. I remember whenever I hit 135, I was like, man, I'm never going to hit 2 plates. I remember I saw somebody do it, and I was like, man, that dude's fucking insane. And then here I was 2 years later, a year later, I hit it for 1, and it's, man, you feel on top of the world. So make sure you set those milestones, whether it's the minor, the major, whatever it is, and it's a game changer for all of these. So basically, the milestones for the big lifts are basically going to be every 25-pound plate and every 45-pound plate you add on each side. That's basically how it comes up. So a 45-pound plate, a 45-pound plate, and a 25-pound plate, and then a 45-pound plate and another 45-pound plate. Basically, every time you add a new 25 or a 45, it's a big milestone. Right now, I've been working on the 315-pound milestone for bench press. I've been working on that for a while. But a big thing to keep in mind whenever it comes to these is don't let it demotivate you if you can't get to the next milestone. Because it's obviously something that feels amazing to work for, makes you feel insanely accomplished, but don't let it demotivate you if you can't get to it or it takes you a long time, because it's not really about the strength. It's just something nice that comes along with the working out, and it's great seeing. It makes you feel great about yourself, and it helps you have something to work towards. So whenever you get past one of the big numbers, just realize you got another mountain to climb. The next mountain's going to be the next big milestone, and it just gives you something to work towards and lets it motivate you. Just don't let it demotivate you, because it really can. Just keep in mind it's another mountain to climb. Now, one of the biggest milestones and one of my favorite, made me feel great about the gym, made me just fall in love with it, is whenever you've made so much progress, people start asking you for advice. You start being the guy people come to and ask you what you do, what you do for your arm day, because your arms are so big. How do you get so strong on bench press? Things like that. It's going to really make you fall in love with the gym, because you've realized, like, man, I'm really that guy. I've made that much progress. Or where these people pretty much look up to me, and they see me as a guy who can give them advice and help them get to where I'm at. They'll be asking things like, what's a good workout to get my arms like yours? What food do I eat to get as big as you? How many sets should I do for this workout? Does my form look right to you? Getting asked things like that makes you feel so good, because it makes you know that the workouts you've been doing, the effort you've been putting in, shows on your exterior, shows on your body, and it's nothing really beats it to me. So the first time someone asks you something like this, answer with a smile on your face and know you've been killing that shit. You've been up in there. Like, still to this day, I've been working out for 6-7 years. I've been getting asked this for probably like 5. But still to this day, whenever somebody asks me something like that, it still puts a smile on my face, still makes me feel amazing about it. So I hope one day you get to experience that. And if not, if you haven't already, if you follow this and you actually stick to it, I promise you will one day, and it feels amazing. And then the last big milestone that I'm going to share with you, and that hopefully you get to experience, is that you start to get excited about going to work out. The day that you start looking forward to go to the gym rather than hating going will mark the day that going to the gym is officially part of your personality. You're a gym bro now. And this will probably indicate that this is something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. It's kind of how it is. Once you get to this point, you got to just accept it. You're going to be doing this forever. When you find yourself starting to feel excited about your workout for the day, just know you're probably going to start seeing a huge difference in your body, and it's going to be a whole different dynamic for you, and the gym's going to be part of your life now. But that's all the milestones. I hope this was able to help you, and I hope this really helps you keep motivation going for your goals and helps you really just lock in on the gym and helps you find some enjoyment in it. The next section is going to be some extra benefits you get just from going. For a lot of people, going to the gym really sucks at first. A lot of people hate it. For me personally, I didn't hate it or love it. I just wanted to look good. And I knew this was the route to take to get to where I wanted to be. Along the way, I started to love it, and I found these extra benefits that kind of just come with working out, and I'm sure you'll see them too if you actually stick to it long enough. And one of the greatest benefits to working out is the mental health benefits. I can't even stress the amount of confidence you'll gain after you see the results show from the work you put in. It's the most life-changing thing you ever see. When you work out and you visibly see the hard work show on your body, you will gain so much confidence, it will literally change your life. It can seriously give you one of the biggest head highs you ever felt in your life, and it's insane how while you go through this process, I'll give you a personal example. I was so insecure whenever I first started, but whenever I started seeing the progress show on my body, almost all my insecurities just disappeared. It's like they literally just never existed, and it's insane how much it changed my life, how much more confident I got once I built up just having some muscle in my body changed my life that much. And the best part is, I wasn't even trying to fix that problem. I literally just started working out and then did it itself. And in the process, you also build up a huge amount of discipline. Especially in the days that you don't want to go and you just force yourself to go. Those are the days where that discipline just gets ingrained in you. It becomes part of your life. It's like, I said I'm going to do this shit, so I'm going to do this shit. Seeing yourself be this disciplined makes you realize what you're truly capable of, and it shines light on that. Like, okay, I'm capable of doing whatever I want to because I've been disciplined through this whole time. I achieved what I wanted to achieve, And it just really shows that you're capable of anything you put your mind to. You really realize just how hard you can work whenever you set a goal and put your mind to it. You might not have ever realized it before. I personally never realized it. I realized whenever I started working out, I realized, okay, if I have a goal, I keep my mind set on it, and I actively work towards it, I can achieve it. And it's just something that comes with time. Like it's like I wasn't trying to achieve that whenever I started working out. It's just something that comes, and I feel like it happens to most people. It's crazy that how you just realize it from working out. It's like, okay, my goal was to gain this amount of weight and put on this much muscle, and I did that just because I kept my mind set on it and I constantly worked towards it. And it proves it to yourself. You're giving yourself evidence in that process. And one of the reasons that I say that it improves your mental health is because studies literally show that more than half of the depressive and anxious symptoms show in people who don't work out. So it's literally changing your life just by, trying to be better. It's crazy that it can have that much of a mental effect as well as a physical effect in your body. Now, another great benefit is the overall health aspect. Now, the good habits you get along the way are really determine how much of a benefit you get from this. Whether, like, if you're actually following a good diet, you change up your life, you're eating cleaner, you're running more, you're really putting in the work to help your body be better, to show it. That's what's going to make a big change in your body and your health. But honestly, just showing up and working out, your body's going to thank you. But those main things too are going to what's really change your health, and a lot of people pick that up as they start working out, and I personally did. And it's crazy what it can do for you. You'll feel it. You'll literally have more energy. You'll have more strength. You'll probably be more flexible. And you'll literally think like, man, how was I functioning before I started working out? I felt like I didn't feel like I was alive. Because it makes you literally feel like you have more life to you whenever you're getting this energy boost, this confidence boost. It makes you feel like a new person. I personally, whenever I go through ruts, I have times where I'm skipping the gym, I'm not eating as clean. I literally feel my quality of life lessen and lessen. It's like, and it's like, okay, I got to get back on it now. It makes me want to get back to start working out. And if you're dieting properly as well, your body will literally show it. There's a quote that goes, "A healthy soul will manifest itself on one's exterior." Meaning, like, if you're healthy, it's going to show on your body. Right? Now show me your body, and I can tell you your lifestyle. Your body is a product of how you live your life. The saying, "You are what you eat," is true. You might not necessarily be a fast food burger if you eat fast food all the time, but you're going to be a pudgy little boy because you're not eating clean. If you eat super clean, you're going to have a lean, shredded body. You are what you eat. Following a good diet and a good workout routine is literally a cheat code. Your body will look phenomenal, and you're going to feel phenomenal. A lot of your mental fog will go away, and you're going to literally be thinking clear. It's insane what it can do for you. When I first started a proper diet, I found myself losing my train of thought a lot less. I could focus on things for a much longer period of time. I had a lot more energy. I was way more productive. And even my sleep fixed. Like, I was sleeping better. I was able to fall asleep easier. I was able to get out of bed easier in the morning. I can't stress enough just how much of an impact having a healthy diet had on my life regarding all aspects: business, relationships, physical, and mental. And to tie all this together, you can't help but notice people respect you more. When people know you're strict about your diet and working out, they can't help but have more respect for you. And you might deny this. You might not want to accept that, but it's true. If you go into a Walmart and you see a fat person, you see a skinny person, you're going to be more inclined to want to know the skinny person, or fit person, I guess I should say. It's whenever you can tell somebody works out, you have more respect for them, because like, you know they're disciplined, you know they've done a lot to get to where they're at, and you can't help it. It's just human nature. You want to respect that guy because you can see the work you put in. And that's the beauty behind it. You can tell they respect you because of the hard work you put in. And your body literally shows it. The journey that you take to get to your end goal is going to give you so many positive mindsets and capabilities. It'll literally show just by the way you present yourself and carry yourself. And for the last portion of this course, I'm just going to share with you some of the mistakes that you'll probably make along the way that I personally made myself. There's a lot of mistakes you can make over the journey that you're going to be taking, and you're probably gonna, like, it's inevitable that you're going to make some of them, right? And the first mistake you're probably going to make, and this one is huge, and you're most likely going to make some. I feel like everybody makes this mistake, is expecting results too soon. You're most likely going to feel demotivated when you're first starting because you're not seeing the results that you want. So just keep in mind, it takes time, and you're going to see them eventually. It's just a matter of time. It's different for everybody. I remember whenever I first started working out, one of my best friends, probably my best friend, said to me, "Why are you even working out? You look basically the same, except your chest is a little bit bigger." Now at the time, I'd only been working out for like 3 or 4 months, so I shouldn't have expected a ton of results, but it still hurt me a little bit. Like, one of my best friends just said to me, like, he asked me while I'm working out, I haven't made any results. So it kind of hurt. Now, I should have just really honestly been excited about the fact that he said my chest looked a little bit bigger, because that meant I was making progress. But I chose to look at the negatives, and most people probably would too. Just remember to take your first progress picture and push through and remember why you're starting. I promise you will see results at some point. Another mistake you'll probably make is just not training hard enough. Beginners really hate the pain that you have to go through whenever you're first starting because it's just something new to you. It hurts and it's just not enjoyable. They'll stop the set early because it hurts and they're not getting that breaking point of the muscle where they'll actually start seeing the results. And stopping too soon, not getting those extra reps, is destroying their progress. We want your muscles to burn. That's a good sign, and that's a sign that you're making progress. So just embrace the pain. You want each workout to feel challenging and not just something that makes you feel like you're just going through the motions. Some days you may not feel like working out, or you might have the thoughts to skip a set or maybe skip some reps. Even on the days you have those thoughts, just destroy the workout anyways, and you're going to be amazed what can happen. This is going to make or break how fast you make results, especially whenever your newbie gains phase is over. Another mistake you'll probably make is cutting when you should be bulking. Whenever most people start, they just want that lean look, they want the muscle to be popping, but I promise you, if you build up that foundation first by bulking, it's just going to make all the difference. If you cut too soon, you're not going to look good, you're just going to be wasting time. The 2 months you've been cutting, you could have been putting on muscle so your cut could look good, but instead, you wanted to get lean. Now you just look super skinny and bony, and you just don't look good and you regret it. You're going to most likely go through this because you're going to want to get that lean look, but I promise you, taking that extra time to bulk is going to make a huge difference, and it's going to really change your appearance and how you feel about yourself, and it's just going to skyrocket your progress, honestly. And even on the flip side, even if you're already kind of chunky, you don't want to cut too soon because even though you have some fat on you, you still don't have that muscle yet. So still take the time to build up that muscle, because if you're chubby, got some fat on you, and you cut, you're going to be skinny fat. You're going to have all that extra skin. You might be skinnier than you were, but you're going to have a bunch of loose skin. You're not going to have any sort of muscle. You're going to be what they call skinny fat, which is just skinny with a lot of sagginess and still fat around your frame. It just doesn't look good. So always take the time to maybe not bulk at that point, but build up some muscle. Eat properly, maybe maintain where you're at, but take the time to build up some muscle, build up some strength, and then do a cut. Because whenever you're a beginner, you don't have the muscle mass yet to get lean. You might lose weight, but you're not going to be lean. You're not going to have any muscle. So make sure you take the time to build the muscle mass. Just remember to tell yourself, I cannot get lean until I build some muscle. And it's going to change the game for you. Once you've finally done this, then you can finally cut and start working towards that dream body you want, when you have abs and veins showing. And that's whenever you're going to really be able to tell that you've been putting in that work. Every time you do a cut, you just wasted that much more time to put on more muscle, so keep that in mind. Bulking is what builds muscle. Cutting is just what shows the muscle that you build. And then the last big mistake you'll probably make is just forgetting the progressively overload. Never forget that you eventually need to go up and weight reps or sets, because whenever you stop, the progress stops. And that's what is just driving everything. It's what's building the muscle, that's what's building the strength. If you stop progressive overloading, you're just going to plateau, stop making progress. And that's going to make you just sit there hopelessly. So keep that in mind. Whenever you stagnate, you're probably not doing progressive overload. Now, if you do get to the point where you're still trying to progressively overload, but you can't go up, you're still at that plateau, just remember to shock the muscle and change up the workouts, change up when you do the workouts, and that's what's going to really get you out of that rut. And if that still doesn't help, do partial reps to end. So say you get 10 reps and you can't get any more, just start doing little half reps to finish off the set, and that'll help a little bit more. But that's all the little mistakes that you might make. Hopefully this helps, and I hope you don't get stuck in these, but if you do, just come back to this section of the video, and remember, these are what you need to do to help get out of it. I'll make one more little section for the conclusion, and that'd be it for the whole course. Hope you guys enjoyed it so far. If you have, really appreciate it if you give me like a little recommendation or something. Or maybe even just say how it's helped you out in the Discord or something. I'd really appreciate it. But again, hope you got some value from this. Hope it was worth the money. And I appreciate you guys for, taking a chance on me, and I hope you actually follow these. If you got any goals, make them happen. Work towards them. You guys got it. So this was the blueprint that I've made over the 7 years I've been working out that will really help you get to your dream body. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions you need answered, probably just refer back to this course. You can probably find it. But if not, maybe just join the Discord or ask me in the Discord, and I'll willingly help you out. I'm always answering questions in there, so if you need help, and I didn't mention in this, ask me. I might even add it to this, so I'd appreciate it if you would ask me. You'll most likely not understand the importance of a lot of the stuff I talked about in here until you're about like a year into your fitness journey or even more. So you'll probably see the value of it a lot more in the future. And it's probably better for you to blindly trust the advice I just gave you rather than going on the internet and searching for a lot of stuff and getting different advice that'll just lead to information overload and contradicting opinions. So I think you should just trust me on this, and I hope you do. If not, take a chance with other stuff. But I promise if you follow this to the T, it's going to really help you a lot. And even if it's not me you choose to listen to, even if it's not this advice you should listen to, just pick one person and follow them blindly. Because if you just pick a bunch of different people, I promise it's going to just mess you up. You're not going to know which advice to follow. So pick one person, follow their advice, and it's going to help you out a lot. Now, weightlifting has changed me from a skinny kid who just played video games all day to a man with discipline, confidence, strength, and just overall someone who knows I can accomplish anything. So I hope that at some point in your life you get to experience this, and I hope I can be one of the reasons that got you there. So I hope you get to feel the sense of accomplishment and achievement that comes from building up your dream body. And thinking about you achieving such a thing just because of some words I spoke to the camera it puts a smile on my face and makes me really happy that I was able to do this and that you took my words seriously. So thank you, and hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was worth the money, and I appreciate you guys.